She hasn't opened the gate yet. She hasn't made a sound. She hasn't even moved, and the horse already knows she's there. Not because it heard her footsteps, not because it caught her scent on the wind, because something in her body, something she wasn't even aware of, had already crossed the distance between them. We talk a lot about what horses can see, what they can hear, what they can smell. But the most precise thing a horse reads about you has no name in any language we use around horses, and it starts before you ever touch them. There is a moment every horse owner knows. You're having a hard day. Maybe you're stressed about something completely unrelated to horses, work, a conversation that didn't go well, something unresolved sitting in your chest. You walk to the barn anyway. You tell yourself the horse won't know. The horse always knows. And for a long time, we assumed this was some kind of mystical sensitivity, something horses had that science couldn't quite explain. But science has been explaining it, piece by piece, study by study. Now, if you watched the last video, you already know that horses choose who to trust based on what they read in your body. This video goes one layer deeper. This is the exact biological mechanism they use to make that decision before you've said a word or taken a single step toward them. And what researchers have found is not mystical at all. It is mechanical, precise, consistent, and completely outside your control. Horses detect human anxiety through not one, but 4 simultaneous biological channels. And by the time you've decided to appear calm, the horse has already filed its assessment. What you're about to understand will change how you walk into every barn for the rest of your life. The first channel is the one most people come closest to understanding, but still get wrong. Breathing. Not whether you're breathing fast or slow, the quality of the breath. When you're anxious, even mildly anxious, your breathing pattern changes in ways that are invisible to other humans, but completely legible to a horse. Your inhale becomes slightly shorter than your exhale. Your breath moves into your chest rather than your belly. Your shoulders rise fractionally with each breath cycle. You've probably seen a horse trainer tell a nervous rider to breathe. You always assumed that was about helping the rider relax. It was never about the rider. It was about what the rider's breathing was broadcasting to the horse beneath them. Researchers studying horse-rider interaction found that when riders were given tasks designed to induce cognitive stress, the horses showed measurable increases in their own cortisol levels. Not from anything the rider did physically, from what the rider's body was transmitting. The horse didn't catch the anxiety like a cold. It read it, accurately, immediately, and responded. Think about what that means. Your horse is not reacting to your behavior. It is reacting to your internal state before your behavior has even changed. The second channel is less comfortable to talk about, but it is one of the most well-documented. When humans experience anxiety, even low-level anxiety, the kind that doesn't feel significant, the body releases cortisol, and cortisol doesn't stay inside you. It comes out through your skin, through perspiration so subtle you might not even notice it. But horses notice it. Their olfactory system, the biological architecture they use to process scent, is exponentially more sophisticated than ours. And cortisol has a chemical signature that horses can detect. So they smell your stress, not metaphorically, chemically, literally. before you've touched them. You've probably seen this without knowing what you were seeing. You approach your horse on a calm day, relaxed, unhurried, and the horse meets you easily, softly. You approach on a tense day, even if you're moving the same way, even if you're trying to seem normal, and the horse is already different before you've made contact. It wasn't reading your movements, it was reading your chemistry. This is why experienced horse people often say you can't fake it around a horse. They're right, but now you know the specific reason why. Your skin is having a conversation with the horse's nose, and you're not part of that conversation. Now here is where it gets genuinely uncomfortable. Most advice given to anxious horse owners is some version of the same instruction. Appear calm, move slowly, breathe deliberately, project confidence. And the intention behind that advice is sound. But here is what that advice accidentally creates. A person whose body is performing calm while their nervous system is still running anxiety underneath. Slowly, that gap between the performance and the reality is exactly what a horse's nervous system was built to detect. A behavioral specialist named Chris Irwin, who has spent decades studying human-horse interaction, describes this with striking precision. He says horses have learned through direct experience that careful and quiet doesn't automatically mean safe, because careful and quiet is exactly how a predator moves. So when your stillness feels effortful, when your calm is constructed rather than genuine, the horse doesn't read that as calm. It reads that as inconsistency. And inconsistency to a nervous system built entirely around detecting the difference between safe and unsafe is the most alarming signal of all. You're not fooling the horse by trying harder. You're telling it something is being hidden. The third channel surprises most people because it sounds like something from a wellness blog, not a research paper. The human heart generates a measurable electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond the body. Research has documented that this field changes depending on your emotional state. Genuine calm produces a coherent pattern. Anxiety produces an incoherent one. Now, this is the least conclusive of the 4 channels. I want to be honest about that. But here is what is conclusive. Experienced horse trainers across different countries and different decades consistently report the same observation. Horses respond to something in humans that precedes movement, precedes sound, precedes touch, something that arrives before you do. The 4th channel is the most immediate of all. Micro-muscle tension. When you're anxious, your muscles don't wait for you to decide to tighten. They preload. Your forearm tightens fractionally before you extend it. Your shoulder braces slightly before you reach. Your jaw sets in a way that changes the quality of your entire upper body posture. These are changes measurable in milliseconds, changes that happen below the threshold of your own awareness. But horses, whose survival for tens of millions of years depended on reading the pre-movement signals of predators, read these before you've completed a single gesture. Jimmy Anderson, the horse trainer who reaches untouched horses in a single day, describes the moment he knows a horse has accepted him. He says the horse stops reading his potential movements and starts reading his actual ones. Slowly, that shift from scanning for threat to simply observing is the moment trust begins. And it only happens when the micro-tension in your body drops below a certain threshold. Not when you try to drop it, when it actually drops. So here is the question this raises. If horses are reading 4 simultaneous biological channels, all of which operate below your conscious control. What can you actually do about it? The answer is not what most horse advice tells you. It is not about technique. It is not about moving differently or breathing on a count or adopting a particular posture. It is about state. The only thing that changes what your breath transmits, your skin releases, your heart field broadcasts, your muscles preload, is your actual internal state. And here is where something profound becomes practical, because your nervous system, like the horse's, isn't fixed. It is trainable.
The same researchers who documented how horses read human anxiety have also documented something equally important. Horses respond to genuine calm with genuine calm of their own. The transmission works in both directions. When your nervous system settles, the horse's nervous system receives that signal too. Cortisol drops on both sides of the equation. Oxytocin rises on both sides. The horse that was scanning stops scanning, and something that felt like a wall between you quietly disappears. There is something quietly important in all of this, something beyond the science. We spend enormous energy trying to manage what horses see in us, what we project, what we perform, what version of ourselves we present at the gate. But horses have never been interested in the version you present. They have always been reading the version you are. And maybe that is not a problem to be solved. Maybe it is an invitation to stop performing calm and start finding it, to stop managing your anxiety around horses and let horses become part of how you find your way back from it. Because here is what the research keeps finding, quietly, consistently, across study after study. The same sensitivity that makes horses detect your anxiety so precisely makes them respond to your genuine calm with something that looks very much like relief. They were never judging you for being anxious. They were waiting, patiently, precisely, for the moment you found your way back to yourself. If this shifted something, the next video goes even deeper. Because it turns out, horses don't just read your anxiety, they remember exactly who made them feel safe and who didn't.